Haim, you know that I love clickbait headlines on now what is online news.
I think you like them
news
because
websites. My recent favourite was you'll never guess what Tim Cahill, who's a soccer player, you'll never guess what Tim Cahill's favourite Chinese dish is.
That was a wonderful gift to the show. If I remember correctly, we did about 20 minutes on people trying to guess. And if I remember even more correctly, it was lemon chicken.
And so, I mean, yeah, the term you'll never guess
gets you.
Well, I mean, that was a long blow because you could sit down and guess every Chinese dish you could think of, you're going to get it.
Well, like, you know, I suppose what's big news at the moment, you know, like you look at the election, like rather than going Turnbull wins by a slim majority, I mean, papers should have gone with you'll never guess who won. And then like, you're in, you're buying it. You'll never guess what happened to home loan rates. Just tell us in the headline.
And often when they're at their shortest, you know, just a little bit of a synopsis, that's when the headlines, you know, extra juicy, and then you click through and it's
often
not quite the same.
It's about boobs.
Today's one, okay, ahead of the Olympics, it said, Usain has some explaining to do. Usain Bolt, and I was like, oh gosh, what's he going to do?
Obviously, he's making you think about, you know, is he...
Then it read... Usain Bolt's most shocking shortcoming has been exposed.
Okay.
I was like, oh gosh, this is pretty full on.
Bad week for, you know, terrible. He'd be going, oh geez, on the week of the Olympics too.
Then it said the world's fastest man might be a one-trick pony. And that's when I went, yeah.
That's the whole point of the 100-metre sprint. It's one trick.
It's one trick. He doesn't have to do anything else. He's not doing the pentathlon or the decathlon or the one with the dodecahedron whatever. The one with the 12.
That's a tough one.
Anyway, so I thought, oh gosh, I wonder what the problem is here. And then it comes back in with it. Usain Bolt has some explaining to do. The world's fastest man has 6 Olympic gold medals, but it doesn't mean he's perfect. Yeah, we didn't think that it was a perfection contest.
You're now above the law? Yeah. You can do whatever you want?
Far from it, in fact. If you consider his agent Ricky Sims' most recent shock admission about the Jamaican track star. And I'm like, oh no.
Okay.
Is it drugs?
Yeah, behind the scenes, he's a tyrant.
Yeah, whatever it is. He's never run a mile.
Jack's passed out.
And that's
the only thing that could be worse is like, he's done 10 though.
Yeah, exactly. He's never run 1.6 kilometres.
So he does short runs?
Yes.
What a pig. And I think if I was a teacher, right, I think about this actually quite a lot. Because maybe at the moment, because I'm filling out applications for Sonny's school, so I'm thinking about like, what kind of schools are you going to? Someone said to me on these application forms, here's the one thing we do at this school heaps, but don't tell the kids. We give them the old fake test. Right?
Oh, yeah.
So remember that story? There's a story going around at our school when I was in about year 7 or 8. And it was like, oh, you know, the teacher gave this impossible test, like 500 questions. And at the start it said, you know, you've got 10 minutes reading time. Make sure you read all the questions thoroughly and then, you know, allocate your time to do it. And at the end it said to get 100% on this test, just write your name.
Yep.
And that's the real test. Yeah. Like, the real test is, do you read the questions all the way through?
Did you read all the way through?
And I was dying for one of those to happen at school. Like, I was always fantasizing at school.
I was flipping to the back and going,
damn it. But just in any context, a teacher tricking you and turning around and going, and that's the real test. So if I was a teacher, it would always be like, guys, today for, you know, maths, we're actually just going to try and run 50 laps of the school. And then... I mean, I haven't thought this example. And then if the kids are like, no, I'd be like, that's the real test. Standing up to authority.
Yeah. Just so you know, everybody, Hamish is not a teacher. And I would love my dad to be listening to this. He's been a teacher for 40 years. But
I do a real test that was more relevant to maths.
I get your drift. It's putting out something, but you're secretly testing something else.
Double layer tests.
That to me, it sounds like a great plan.
I mean, I would just like to know on 131060, have you been, and maybe I use this as a way to look for schools for Sonny, did you have teachers that pulled this like double layer test on you, where they turned around and went, guess what? That's the real test, just to see if you would help out a mate. Doesn't matter what the test was about or whatever it is. Tests within tests.
13, 10, 60. It's a tough brief.
It's a tough brief, but if a principal went, that's all we do, I go, yeah, great. Here's my deposit.
Hamish and Andy.
Okay.
driving you home. Now, I want to say something up front. Yep. I know in that song we just all said, well, why don't we think of tests that
we would give kids if we were high school teachers?
So basically laying out something.
A test within a test. The example that everyone heard, certainly when I was at high school, was, there's this really long test everyone got. At the start it just says, read all the questions before you begin.
Yep.
At the last one it says to get 100%, just write your name and nothing else. And then the whole point is like, that's the real test.
Yep.
Did you read all the questions? So I always fantasized at school, and I would love, if I was a teacher, to have a moment where I could turn to the kids and go, that's the real test.
Yep.
Right? So then in the song, and I gave a bad example before I said if I was a maths teacher, tell the kids to run 50 laps, and if they said no, that would be me testing them to question authority. But I think they'd say no anyway, so it's not a great test. So we all had to think about a test.
You said everyone try and think of one. Now, I think we've got time to quickly go through them.
Yep.
You want to go first?
Jack, you had to think of one.
Mine's inspired by the example you gave where at the end it says read all the questions. So for a media teacher, she gives DVDs of the movie you have to watch and analyse and later do a test on.
Yep.
At the end of the film, she dubs herself into the DVD.
Oh, you've just done the exact same. You've just stolen the written one. Turn your mic off.
Inspired by.
I said, don't come to me.
Jack did stay tame.
Guys, only come to me if you got nothing. That's why I wanted to start with Jack. So now ours will look all right, Anna. So mine is, I'm the science teacher. The whole year, I go to the kids. All right, guys, that's it for today's lesson. Remember, keep your eyes open. Science is all around you. Okay. Sort of my catchphrase. Yep. Kids are like, that's sweet. Mr. Blake, he's always saying that. Yeah. Then at the end of year exam it comes, and it's like impossible. It's like university level. Yeah. But written above me, above the blackboard, right, is a 4-digit code that's never been there all year, and it's written in paint on the wall. There's a small box up the front of the classroom with a padlock on it, and the code is the code to the box. And for the smart kids, they'll go, hang on a sec, I think that code opens that box, and inside are all the answers. Keep your eyes open, guys. Science is all around you.
It's not science all around you. It's a cryptic clue for an escape room.
Legend.
Might be
Legend. Mr. Blake.
Mr. Blake's an idiot. All right. I mean, mine's not much better, so I'm disappointed I went after you two so hard. My idea was on an excursion, right? So we're taking all the kids, and we've got to go to an area where you're going across as like a bridge or something at a gate at the end. So
fun excursion. Okay. Everyone bring their permission slips.
No,
with the
and
bridge.
I'm getting my keys out to open the gate, and I drop them. And I'm like, oh no! And we have to go about how can we use our surrounds to try and retrieve the key.
Keep your eyes open, kids. Science is all around you.
And so, we're getting sticks and we've got some wire and we're all working together to retrieve the keys. We pull it up and as we go through the gate, I go, that was the test. Could we work together to get the keys?
Oh, that's just bad. I thought the gate wasn't locked might have been the test.
No.
Pretty bad.
No.
Well, that's just a camp activity. That's just like, let's build a
under the guise of the excitement of
real life.
Real life. Oh, geez, this is bad. Well, this is a great story.
Geez, well, thank God we got people calling in because Kate...
Your teacher does this, Kate?
You are a teacher, Kate.
I am a teacher.
All right, you
Kate,
do this.
First of all, did you like any of our ideas?
Yeah, I actually like the one with the lock and the the code for science.
Mr. Blake.
Really, Kate?
Yes.
Thanks, Kate. You can use that one free of copyright.
I will.
Now, what's the test that you give kids where you're like, that was the real test?
We give the year 7s because they invariably, the reason why they don't do well in tests is because they don't actually read the instructions or the questions.
Yep.
So we give them a test that has a whole heap of things, and they're told they've got reading time. They have to read through it all, and then they can start. And invariably they start, and the first question is stand up and run around your chair, sit down, scream your name, blah, 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 turn around, talk to somebody, and the last thing is only write your name on the top right-hand corner.
Oh, right, yeah, that's the test. That's the famous test.
So, Kate, do people start standing up and running around their chairs?
Yeah, and then we get one or two who actually sit there and read through it, and then they just kind of sit there and do nothing.
That's a real test.
And wait, and we come and check that they're done, and then they can go into a different room and watch a movie while the others are making idiots of themselves.
They're the kids that would notice the code above the blackboard. Brent.
Okay.
Brent. So that's the real test.
The real test is if people are up and running around
They're failing.
chairs, they're
They
failing.
haven't read all the way to the end.
Yeah.
Brent, you had a teacher who gave you a double layer test.
Yeah, so ahoy, boys.
Ahoy, yeah,
ahoy,
thank
Brent.
you. Thank you.
What he did was he gave us a 25-question multiple choice maths test.
Yep.
All of the questions were really, really easy, but he made every single answer B.
Oh, yeah, that would freak you out.
Yeah.
So what he wanted to do was to see whether or not we were willing to back our intelligence, and because we knew the answers were right, or whether we would be stupid enough to change one of them, thinking that there's no way every answer could possibly be.
That's a good test.
great
That is a
test.
great test.
Hey, Brent, you're not the mix master, are you?
No.
Okay,
Right, yeah, we thought we might have the mix master on.
Sorry, that's a
Very
another
old
reference for
old school reference for hardcore fans. Aaron, really quickly, just because I love this topic. Aaron,
Yeah.
you had a double layer test.
My mate's father was a professor or lecturer at Monash Uni, and he told all his students the evening before their test, that they must watch The Simpsons episode the night before, chill out, you're not going to learn any more. And then he put 3 questions from that episode onto their final year test.
Jeez, how much would the 3 questions be worth?
I can't imagine that they would be allowed to be worth much, but
Really, 40%. Jeez, that's amazing. Did you hear that, guys?
40%.
40% of the test was the
that's
Simpsons.
I wonder
I wouldn't have thought it could be that high.
if your teacher told you to watch this. I mean, it's a little bit rough. Like it's like you can not
I'm just testing how obedient you are.
because you could still take his advice and do something leisurely, which doesn't
Pretty good. It's a bit like, bring me a cake and I'll give you an extra 10%.
Haim, you're still fiercely defending your test.
Look, if
The
you've
people have just tuned in.
If you've just tuned in, we're talking about if you're a high school teacher giving kids a double layer test.
Yes.
A test within a test, something where you can turn around and go, that's the real test, guys.
And yours was
And everyone goes,
at
well
the
done.
end of what, year 8 science, was it?
Yeah, let's say year 8 or 9.
Year 8 is like science. You're the science teacher.
I've been saying all year to the kids, remember kids, science is all around you. Like, don't have your nose stuck in
Catchphrase
books.
doesn't work.
Look for real life examples. Science is everywhere.
Yeah.
And they're like, what would you know, teach? I'm in year 9. I'll do what I want. All right, just telling you, science is all around you. End of your exam comes. It's impossible. I give them a university level science exam.
Yeah.
No one can answer anything. Even it's multiple choice.
Yeah.
Above me above the whiteboard in the classroom, I've painted, for those observant enough to realise science is all around them, a 4-digit code.
But that's
on
not
the wall.
science. It's a clue. It's
Numbers.
not science. It's all
No,
around.
numbers. Science.
Then maths is all around. Should you do this in maths?
No, this is science.
Okay.
This is kind of half psychology, a
So
little bit of physics.
So if someone
So then the kid goes, what's that? No, hang on a sec. Then they notice that there's a box,
Yeah.
a locked box, sort of on my desk, not very obvious.
Yep.
And they go, that looks like that's got a 4-digit lock on the box. There's a 4-digit code above the whiteboard. I'm on here. Smart kid goes up, opens the box, and inside is the answers. Now, he can choose to share that with his classmates. I would recommend against it because I'll be marking on the curve.
and so okay, couple of things. At my school, you weren't allowed to just get up and wander around the class.
Another
during-
one of my catchphrases is, roam free, my children.
because then people can.
I
cheat.
encourage a very kind
You
of
can
loose,
You can
a
just
free
walk
range-
past the
free range
smart kids
classroom.
and look for answers anytime you like.
You guys have
Anyway.
been picking apart this idea. Jack just goes, what if the kid that gets it is the dumbest kid all year?
Yeah.
Well, no, because he's the smartest kid because he's
No, he's not, though.
he
He's
knows to look for codes.
And then. And
He's
then
always
you're
looking for
saying that-
clues.
so the whole class fails except for Aaron.
I guess it would be a pretty harsh lesson, but one that they could learn at year 8 level. So you're not going to have a great year 8 science
the other
mark.
thing-
I know I might get some
but
grumpy parents.
Also, the lesson's not great because
Keep your eyes open.
Aaron, for the rest of his life, if he then starts a job and is presented with a problem, he's now working, if it's still in science, he's now working, and obviously, say a virus breaks out and is presented with a problem.
He'll be going,
Instead
"Guys,
of actually
wait,
trying
wait,
to
wait."
solve it, he's just looking around for a code.
And we need thinkers like that. We need the Hail Mary. We need the guys that believe in miracles. And no, that's the real test. That's what I'm testing for. 13. Here, actually, we can't take any more calls on this. What I'd love overnight.
Yep.
I think what we've learned is designing double layer tests for students is hard.
Is it hard? If you think you're a better one-
Hamishandandy.com. If extra points if you're not a teacher.
Yeah.
If you can send us in one, we'll read a few out and